What's up guys, Icebreaker here. As you can see from the flashy art across the screen, this is a sneak peek. We're going to take a look at the cryotanks. Let's have a look. Okay guys, as you can see, I am on the dev build, which is why you see me as a level 80 and I've got like 1,000,000 diamonds and stuff. It's a dev build, it's not the real game, it's not a real account, so don't take any notice. But to take a notice of the cryotank, I've got Beast and Martin on call, as always. What's happening, boys?
What's happening?
Hello, mate, you alright? Hello, guys.
So, cryotank, guys, what do you think of these stats? Let's have a look at the stats first before we do anything else.
I think the cryotanks themselves look cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. They do look cool. With every pun intended.
Absolutely.
That was weak.
Dad jokes
weak
and all.
sauce.
Dad jokes and all. Dad jokes and all that, you know.
Yeah, only on BBTFRG. So the stuff you want to know is the health. Got 2,500 health, which is nothing really. Unit size is 14, so you can get 2 per boat. But before you get excited about that, hold that thought. 90,000 gold to train, 24 minutes. Movement speed is slow, and the range says very long. Now keep that in mind too. We'll come back to that in a second. Damage per second is 157, and the beam extension says 22. So, what's your first impressions about them, then, boys?
Promising. On paper, it looks promising.
Yeah.
Fairly standard stats for a proto-troop. Fairly low health, which we know they're going to get one shot by a lot of things. Training cost is a little bit higher than normal, I think. But the training time is about the same. I know we've already talked about it, but the beam extension seems a little bit off.
Yeah. So, for the guys at home, we said about movement speed and range and stuff. The range says very long, and the beam extension says 22. Now, when you put these two things together, that's the range is going to be how many tiles distance it is from the building that it's firing at, and the extension is how many tiles that shot will cover from the start of from the tip of the tank until the very tip of the splash damage. Now, because these things have got very long range, it means they stand quite a long. They park up quite a long way from the defenses, don't they? So, the splash damage area where the cryo beam has its greatest use is actually smaller than what a normal Cryonear is, but we'll show you that in a second. Unit size 14, so like we said, you can get 2 per boat, like so. However, they're going to cost you a whopping 36 GBE to land one boat of 2 tanks. That means even with 11 boosted gunboat energy statues, you cannot land all 8 boats. What do you think of that?
I think that's bonkers.
It's crazy.
Bonkers.
Let's find a base to attack. Let's have a go at chicken. And I'll show you what I mean. We'll show you what we mean. So, as you can see, 11 boosted gunboat energy statues gives you 278 GBE. However, when you drop them, you can only drop 7 boats because you don't have enough energy for the last one. And as we were saying, these park up quite a distance away from the defences. So the splash damage zone behind the defences isn't all that much. From what I can see there, it's about 9 tiles, sorry. 3 lots of defences, which is 9 tiles. Whereas a cryo would at least get the row behind that as well. Even though they have a shorter beam extension as such, because they stand closer to the defences when they shoot, they the splash damage area is going to catch more buildings behind them. So I think that's sort of the grinding point for me on this.
I think just looking at that then as well, when you're looking at the third row of defence on that attack, they're actually only just touching the front of that defence. They're not going all the way to the back of it. So I do think the calculations are a little bit off.
Yeah. Yeah, when it says, range very long and beam extension of 22, when you put those two things together, it actually shortens the effective range of the beam itself. Because when you're using Cryonears, you want them to freeze as many defenses as possible behind the one that you're shooting at. So with having that as long range as well, it just puts them even further away, which kind of negates the whole beam thing at all, does it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not convinced on these things, to be fair. I think the Cryonears is going to be a better option. But I'll just show you, for argument's sake, I'll show you the difference between a Cryonear and a Cryotank. If we drop bullet, Cryonear, Cryotank, get rid of some of these mines, shot the shock launchers and stuff, and shock everything. We've got loads of GBE, so we can shock everything. You can see there how the Cryonears there are standing a few tiles closer to the defences, and so their beams are actually catching all the way back up here to the storages, while the Cryotank's beams is only just catching that gold storage there in the middle. So the Cryonear, by standing just a couple of tiles closer to the defences, is actually freezing potentially 3 more buildings. Which
I think the other thing that we've got to really take into consideration on this is that you get more Cryonears per boat, which means you're freezing more things.
Yeah.
And they don't cost any GBE.
Exactly. I think you're paying a lot of GBE to lose a lot of why you would even be using a Cryonear style troop. I don't understand the logic behind it. Obviously,
I do think there's a lot of potential in what they've done. I think if the unit size was smaller and if the actual cost was a lot cheaper for deployment, then they do have an advantage. I mean, if you could fit, say, 4 on a boat instead of 2, maybe a little bit less GBE cost, then they would have more value because they'd be able to walk over more mines than the Cryonears. Stats-wise, if you look at the health of these guys, they're not that much different to a Cryonear. The Cryonear has, at max level, has 1,500.
Yeah, so they're not massively different then, really.
Not really. I mean, it's an extra 1,000, but I mean, that 1,000, can you walk over a max mine? Well, you can't walk over a max boom mine.
No.
With either anyway.
No.
It just means that they'll be able to maybe eat a few more regular mines.
So we're obviously talking about level 23 here. This is, if you've got a max level account with Armory level 24, you will get the Cryotanks at level 23. If you've got a level 20 Armory, you'll get them at level 19. You'll always get them one level below whatever your Armory is currently. I reckon we upgrade these to max and have a look again. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So we'll cut right there and come back with max level tanks and we'll show you that. Okay guys, so this is the max level Cryotank. These stats now show as 2,800 health, still 14 unit size, a whopping 105,000 each to train, still 24 minutes, slow, very long, still the same. Damage per second though goes up to 172, and the beam extension now shows 25. So what do you think of that, Beast? What do you think that's obviously there's a few levels worth of upgrades there to get where we are.
I think we need to look at that beam extension again and drop it on the same base and see if it does actually reach further.
Okay, so let's take a look. Who did I attack? Chicken.
Chicken.
Chicken?
So in theory, the beam extension now should cover as far as a maxed cryo does. That is to say, 4 lines of back-to-back defences.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to shock everything. And no, from what I can see, the beam extension is... no, it's still the same.
Yeah.
Drop the cryos in there, and I...
Yeah.
Let's get rid of the cryos. And the beam extension is still only catching those first 3 rows.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a bug. I will raise that with Supercell after I finish recording this video. I'll raise that issue with Nuno and see if I can get some clarification on that. But again, as you can see, as soon as I got rid of the cryo, with the cryos in there, they were still catching, you know, these buildings up here, the residences and the stone storage and stuff. But the cryo tanks just can't get there. So,
and that's an additional 3 more tiles. So it really should. They really should be.
Yeah, should be catching at least minimum 1 more building, because the building footprint, defense footprint in that is 3 by 3. So 3 more tiles should catch a whole nother building, shouldn't it?
In theory.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the long and short of it. But now we're going to try something for a little bit of fun. I'm going to cut right now, come back with some decent statue combos, and see if they make any difference. Okay, guys, so just like that, we now have a 5-5-1 loadout, 5 gunboat energy, 5 troop damage, and 1 troop health statue. Now, I'm going to try them with a traditional cryo loadout, which would be RZCM, rifles, cryos, Zukas, and medics. But I'm swapping the boat of cryos out for 2 cryo tanks at max level. And we're going to jump in and hit chicken again and see if they do a good job of replacing the normal standard Cryonears. So I'm going to get rid of these mines to start off with.
I think any RCZM user right now is screaming at you about the fact that you've just got less freezing potential there.
Yeah, and I took bullet by accident.
And you took 3 rifles instead of 2.
Yeah.
What kind of noob are you?
Okay, so the rocket launchers are gone. Let's see how this plays out. So anybody who uses this loadout normally will know that the whole point of the Cryonears is to slow down the defenses, stop them picking off huge amounts of your rifles, which are protecting your Zukas, essentially. To be fair, I think the rifles and the Zukas are killing stuff faster than the cryo tanks can shoot at it. You know, is that what you're seeing, guys?
I think what's happening here is you've only got 2 beams that are firing, which then is taking away a whole lot of the effectiveness. I mean, this is a very easy base to take out because of the pure nature of the dev build bases. I think if you were to take on an actual base with that loadout, you'd probably see a bit of a difference.
Flanking rocket launchers on there, and you're destroyed, aren't you?
Yeah,
exactly. So, you know, it's, I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you guys, the viewers, to come up with a conclusion on these ones. So make sure you let us know in the comments what you think. I'm not convinced they're worth using myself. What about you two?
I think they'll be good for a bit of fun.
Yeah, for a bit of fun, but for legitimate strategies and stuff, I don't think they're going to be much use for a legitimate strategy.
No,
I think what we need to do is see their effectiveness. If you're not maxed, if you had, say, 1 per boat, and you're hitting around the sort of 300 VP mark, then I think you might see a difference. I mean, if you're, say, around the 30s to 40s on your VP level, then you're probably going to see a benefit to them. And I'll be interested to see what people come up with that are around that sort of range, and if they are effective. And I'd love to know if they are effective at that range, because at max level, I'm not sure they are.
I think that's true for most proto troops, though. Isn't it? At max level, they're there for a bit of fun. They don't kind of they don't enhance it any more than using all warriors or AZ or
Let's just for a laugh, let's hit Skull Crusher with 4 Scorchers and 4 Cryotanks, if we can land all of this. So let's put the Scorchers down first. No, I can't land them all quite, but build up some GBE. So I think this is so one of those loadouts that you can do for a laugh, innit? You know, it's not strategically an advantage as such, but you know, it's having a laugh, and it's having it's why we play the game. We play the game to have fun, teach a few different strategies and stuff, and go from there.
If you've got a maxed account and you've got an abundance of gold and you're not Nana K, so you don't have a load of shields on your map, then you might as well use the gold. And if it doesn't work the first time, then hey, reload and go back in and try again.
Yeah, you've not lost nothing, have you? Yeah.
From what I've seen of them, actually, this is the most effective way to use them.
Yeah, but
because what they're doing is.
Interestingly, from that attack, you don't see any troop on troop damage. There's no friendly fire like the Cryotank beams where it freezing the Scorchers. Where if that had been Lasertrons and they were shooting at other troops nearby like that, they would have roasted the other troops like. So from what we can tell, there's no friendly fire from it. So.
That's consistent with Cryonears and all the cryo weapons, isn't it?
Yeah. So the verdict is then, guys, if you're a low-level player and you haven't got Cryonears yet, or just generally a low-level player, if you like your tanks, your tank loadouts, Scorchers, these are probably going to be for you. Going to be a bit of fun to play with, but I don't see a legitimate strategy with them. But feel free to let us know in the comments what you think, and if you can see a different strategy for them, we'll be keen to see that. But that's it, guys. That will wrap it up there. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe. Really appreciate that stuff. And we will catch you next time. Laters.
Take it easy, guys. Bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.